Very good afternoon. So today's session, first of all, I welcome all of you. Those who are watching this on YouTube, you can follow me on Telegram by joining the link below, which is in the description box. And the others who are here present today, this particular video, this particular session, this particular interaction between all of us, this is a very special interaction. If you go on my YouTube channel, you can see whenever we meet, we always talk about, I keep having these free sessions for all my Telegram and otherwise followers. But I always talk about charts. I always talk about the markets. Today is very special. We are going to talk about the psychology of trading. And more so, of course, we all know that we should keep our position size low. Of course, we all know that we should keep our stop losses and maintain them. But today, I'm going to capture a very counterintuitive, a different kind of thinking approach. And we're going to explore this. First of all, a little bit about myself. My name is Mohak Pajisia, as most of you know, and as most of you have been tracking me, my expertise is technical analysis. I've been educated through the Chartered Market Technician course and the Chartered Financial Analyst course. I've been a visiting faculty in some of the top colleges in the country. Also, I've been teaching for the last 4 years and trading for the last 9 years. Now, in my entire journey, I've of course met a lot of people, been to a lot of places, taken up a different kind of role many times. But what I've really understood is what drives market, why is technical analysis so important to me, and why today we are talking about trading psychology. Because all said and done, if you want to make money in the market, you need to have the game right. You need to have your head in the game right. You can know the most powerful picture perfect trading setup. You can capture the best move, and still, if you don't execute correctly, you do not stand a chance to make money in the markets. So what is trading for us in today's context? Trading for us today is execution, right? Once again, I welcome you all to take your precious time. And today we are going to really, in a very nice manner, go ahead and discuss trading psychology, give you a lot of hints and tips and tricks on how to make things better for your future. So today's session is going to be, let me just give you an overview of this session. Of course, it is going to be very interactive. Feel free to ask me questions, not an issue. Feel free to ask me as many questions as you feel like. But if those questions are pertaining to trading psychology, it would make some sense. And if some people start asking stock specific views, for today, I'm sorry, I would not be able to help you. Ask me about the broader aspects of trading and technical analysis, fine. But for today, we're going to focus on the trading psychology part. Let's have an overview of what we are about to get into, right? So I just have a raise of hands from everyone, just to know that everybody is able to see the button to there. They have a lot of new people have joined. Can I have a raise of hands from everyone? And is everybody active, alive, and all in the full mode and excitement to start this webinar? Is everybody excited? Is everybody ready for this? Thank you so much. I'm already getting some messages. Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much. Absolutely. So here we go. So what we're going to focus on primarily, I'm keeping it very nice, crisp, so that the discussions can become very vivid. The discussions can become very elaborate. I'm going to keep most of the things what we are going to talk about very nice and crisp in terms of the literature. I'm not going to use too fancy words. It's going to be simple, but it's going to be very effective. So the broader overview of what we're going to do, first we're going to understand what the common behavioral patterns of novice traders are. So people who are new to the markets, novice traders, they carry a certain behavioral pattern which is very common. And even those novice traders continue to be novice for a good number of days, weeks, months, years. and their behavioral pattern is so consolidated in their psyche that is very difficult. Basically, the emotions are the same, the reactions are the same, only the market events, market moves, and market phases are different. So we're going to study what causes these behavioral patterns to recur. And as we all know, and if you don't know, then you can go to any of my past free webinar on YouTube, which you will see. The basis of technical analysis is because these patterns are so ingrained in the human psyche that people end up doing the same thing again and again. And that is why technical strategies are so consistent that the same strategies are useful again and again and again. Right? Right. Okay. So we're going to, Mohit, I'll just answer your question a bit later. And as questions come, if I'm in the middle of saying something, I might answer it a little later, but be rest assured I'm not going to miss any question. The next point is we're going to understand how to develop a professional trader mindset. Professional trader mindset. Now, this is a little bit of a trick. Why? Because there are only 2 or 3 or 4%, some people say 5% traders who are really successful and consistent in the market. Even to find people like that is very difficult. I have been fortunate because in my trading journey, I have met a lot of these successful traders. I have learned from observing them, I have learned from talking with them, and mostly what I really understand is that trading is all about your mindset. Myself holding expertise in technical analysis, I really give trading psychology a real big chunk of my attention and development. So if you are developing the trader mindset, which is a professional trader mindset, first you need to understand what is it amongst professional traders that is different from the retail traders. Once we study the pattern of a professional trader, what a professional trader does in his day of trading, in his quarterly results of trading, how he views, how he approaches, what are the goals, we are going to crack a lot of these codes which can be very useful to us. The last point is neutralizing the emotional baggage and regaining your clarity. Now, it takes a lot of time for people to get up from what they are hurt of. Now, if they're going to always be in this kind of association, that if they lose some money in the markets, they get hurt, they will start carrying these emotional baggages. And the perfect skill, or the perfect mental skill a professional trader has, is that no matter what the day has gone, no matter how the week has been, no matter how last year was, the professional trader has the power and the skill to neutralize his emotional baggage. So we're going to learn how to neutralize these emotional baggage, and I'm going to show you what are the points of focus. Number one, on the habit point of view. Number two, on the trading point of view, that you can take and go ahead with, right? So till now, whatever I've told you, I hope everything is clear. I hope everything is clear. I really owe a lot of this knowledge to a lot of others. In the last 1 year or 1.5 years, I have been very much inspired by reading a lot of books. I mean, I have been a reader for a very long time, but particularly, people like Tim Ferriss, Mark Manson, Simon Sinek, and not to forget the real guru of trading psychology, Mark Douglas, Brett Steenbarger. So I really owe a lot of what I'm trying to say from whatever I have read and what I have assimilated after my own research. And one of these quotes from late Mark Douglas, who has left a legacy behind with a book called Trading in the Zone. One of the best, my favorite trading psychologists ever. So he kept it very simple, but after all the simplification also, he really believes in one thing. After working, and as some of you may be knowing, I also have been working with a lot of people, with a lot of professional traders, on consulting them on one-on-one basis only on their psychology. This is one of the things which I do. which you will not see easily anywhere in Telegram or something. But this is a part of what I do and what I believe in. And me too, just like as it is mentioned in this quote, that no man ever reached to excellence in any one art or profession without having passed through the slow and painful process of study and preparation. So if you are going to go out there and make lakhs and crores of rupees in the market, yes, you can do it. But to be able to even deserve that, you will have to put in that process together, put in the study and preparation together. And on that note, let's study what exactly happens and why traders lose money. So first aspect of us understanding these things was that the first aspect was, let's understand the behavioral patterns, right? So first let's understand what happens other than the psychology and the biology. What happens from the outside? What do people end up doing? What are the actions people take? Okay, why traders lose money? Okay, now how many of you over here are comfortable with little bit of Hindi? If I use a little bit of Hindi, okay, because I like to say this a little bit of Hindi. Okay, thank you. A lot of you are comfortable. Okay, so there was an article I was reading, right? और उस आर्टिकल में एक कंट्री था, उस कंट्री में बहुत सारे एक्सीडेंट होते थे. There used to be a lot of accidents in that country on a particular road. और वो जो दो एक्सीडेंट्स थे, वो ये दो जो एक्सीडेंट्स होते थे, ये दो जानवरों के वजह से होते थे. One, either it was a dog or it was a donkey. या तो कुत्ता और या तो गधा. तो ऐसा क्यों? And what is the connection between trading? Have you ever seen a dog cross the road? If you see a dog is crossing the road, the car is coming from there 100 meters far away, and the dog is very whimsical, very indecisive. He thinks, should I cross, should I not cross? Kabhi aage, kabhi piche, and the car comes forward. Car keeps coming, and then what happens? Bang, accident. Now hold on to that thought and let's understand gadhe kaise kaise accident ho jata hai. How does a donkey be responsible for an accident? So the donkey will come in the middle of the road and he will stand. He is such a donkey that he will come in the middle of the road. With due respects to animals, he is such a donkey that he will come in the middle of the road and he will stand. And what will happen? The car will come and accident. हम कोई एक स्टॉक लेते हैं और उस एक स्टॉक के लिए गधा बन जाते हैं. Now, how many of you, I'm putting all hands down, how many of you really connect with what I'm trying to say? आप लोग में से कौन कौन कनेक्ट करता है कि मैं डॉग हूं या मैं डोंकी हूं ट्रेडिंग में, या मेरे से ऐसी गलती हो चुकी है? Do you feel like a dog or do you feel like an? I have made both the kinds of mistakes. I have been a victim. And I want everybody to participate. I want everybody to send me a message. What do they feel? What has their habit patterns been? More like a dog or more like a donkey? Now the first person to have messaged over here is Mr. Karambir. And he has something called Dum. Because he's the first person to message. And that is very important in trading. So thank you. So Karambir, Rahul, a lot of others are also messaging one after the other. So it's, for some people are saying dog, some people are saying both. Some people are saying donkey also. For me, it has been both. In my starting stage of trading, right? In my starting stage of trading, I have faced both these kind of repercussions. So traders lose money because of two reasons. One is either they're very indecisive and impulsive, and they lose small amounts of money on many trades. All put together becomes a big sum. Or when it comes to the style in which they are behaving like a donkey, then what happens? Then they're losing a lot of money on just one trade. So first of all, thank you for those who just participated. It was very sporting of you, and that interaction should keep continuing. So first of all, either dog or donkey, you have to understand the reasons why people behave like this, the psychological ingrained in-depth reasons why people behave like this. And we have to understand what is happening inside the mind and the brain to be able to understand why people are behaving like this. Let's understand how our mind works. Okay, it is something which, can you see the mind? Can anybody see thoughts? Can anybody see mind? Not really, not in this dimension at least. But there are certain things we can feel, we can understand, associate, verify. Let's start with, just in the most simple way, the basic building block of how these habits are created. Because if we understand how these habits have been created, we can easily understand how to cut them from the root. First of all, we have to understand that nobody in the markets comes like a fool. Nobody wants to waste their hard-earned money on over trading or gambling or any kind of addictive behavior. Nobody wants to do that. Most people come from a perspective, they're going to have some or the other approach, maybe very educated, maybe not very educated, maybe just thumb rule, maybe just intuition, whatever it is. But they have some sort of approach, and that is how they want to put the money. Yes, the initial excitement is there, but there is a certain sense of clarity that I have an approach. And out of the people who talk to me, like for example during a week, during the week at least, apart from the people who call my team up, uh, people who talk to me directly, about 20 new people talk to me directly every week. You can understand that's about almost 1,000 people in a year or more. One thing I've noticed very common, most people initially make money in the markets. They don't lose money in the markets. They are careful about the volatility. They are careful about the fact that yes, there can be a loss. And therefore, they do the right things, they make some money. In the process of making the money, they tend to get exasperated. They get to get, just imagine if I ask you to go to a roller coaster, you will enjoy the ride if I ask you to go once to a roller coaster. But if I ask you to go on a roller coaster for 6 continuous hours, there are very high chances that you will vomit. There are very high chances you will faint. That is what happens with people. And in this entire new environment, where there is high volatility, high risk, and high emotional upheavals and downheavals, there are small mental associations which are created. First of all, from a very primitive perspective, from a very ingrained psyche, we are born of our ancestors who used to be cavemen. And our ancestors who used to be cavemen believed in the fight and flight mode. The fight and flight mode, because we had to hunt. We had to hunt in order to survive. Now, for us back then, killing an animal and eating it, that was the mode of survival. Today, what is the commodity of our survival? Money. Money is the commodity of our survival today. Now, when our survival is threatened, there is a brain reaction that happens. There's a particular part in the brain. It's called amygdala. Amygdala. It is the one which causes the fight or flight reaction. So immediately when there is a threat to your survival commodity, which is money, which is happening because you see the M2M has gone down, or immediately you take the trade and you say, oh my God, it's happening again, it's going down again. I mean, about 50% of the times after I take a trade, for the first few minutes, my M2M goes in minus. But I don't take it like that. I have trained my mind not to get fearful because of that. And so should you all. You have to train your mind in the right way. Where is your attention going? And we're going to learn how to do that step by step. Now what happens is when the amygdala is creating this response, M to M means mark to market. That is the moving profit and loss. Like if you see the trade account or the platform where you're trading, if you buy and the price goes down after buying, you see a minus so and so rupees over there. That is what the mark to market is. It can be positive also. So both. So this amygdala sends a response to the brain, to the part of the brain which is the prefrontal cortex, and that is that's what insinuates an action from our direction. So our action seems to us as if it is just natural. A lot of fear-based actions in market seems to us as if it is natural. And there is a particular concept in psychology called cognitive dissonance. That means if we feel an emotion, we try to justify it by giving reasons. I'll give a very small example. A gentleman a few months back, so he said that I took a particular trade on the basis of a call option. I said, okay. Now the stock trend and the stop loss, etc. We are not getting too deep into that, but that all was fine. And the trade also worked out. But he said that in the middle there was a correction and I exited the trade. I said, why did you exit the trade? He said, I exited the trade because of theta decay. I said, see, theta decay was something you could have thought of even before entering the trade. Even before entering the trade, you could have thought of theta decay. You exited the trade because of your fear, and your fear translated a logical reason. That, see, you're fearful. Try and find a reason why you should exit the trade, because it is giving you some pain. It is threatening your commodity, survival commodity. So what happens inside the brain is the reaction of the amygdala, the reaction of the brain chemicals and neurotransmitters. But I do not want to make it too biology class for you all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it simple. In a nutshell, what happens is we start gathering experience of whatever is happening around us, and we start associating it with a feeling, right? We start gathering experience and we start associating it with a feeling. Now, a quick raise of hands. There's so many times when you listen to a song and you get zoned into a particular time of your life. You listen to a song and suddenly you're back in school. You listen to a song and suddenly you're back in college, right? How many of you actually feel this happens? Right? You listen to a song and suddenly you remember of the time you spent in that holiday. It could be anything, right? Right? So when you are associating something that you listen with a particular time, you're associating it not with the time, but actually with an emotion. You're associating the song with a certain kind of emotion. Therefore, what happens in case of markets, where there are certain things which have a visual reference? They have a visual reference. They also have a reference of emotion, of trade management, of how a trading day has been for you earlier, of how your overall aspect and association with trading has been till now. How, suppose somebody is there who comes with a lot of baggage. So the first thing when they come, and I'm just giving an example. So one of my students, I went to Mumbai for one of my workshops. This is back a few years back, and he happened to stay. That gentleman happened to stay in the same hotel as I was staying. Obviously, after the workshop, we started having a small conversation. And very nice of him, very nice of the gentleman. He was very nice to me, and he explained in a very objective manner. But one thing, he accepted that he was a trading addict. He was trading as if it's gambling. He told me to come to Mumbai, the entire cost of coming to Mumbai, just to find out if he could cover that cost. He took some trades and he lost money on that. Now, I was supposed to tell him throughout the workshop, and then I asked him to join my online course. That is something we can talk about later. But the point is that this gentleman, he is not in the fit mindset to trade, because all his experience and association If he takes a trade and he sees a M2M like this negative, 500 rupees negative, he's going to square out the trade. Even though his account size may be very large. He is taking continuous fear-based actions, etc. So first of all, when you see certain things visually, when you experience the gaining of money or losing of money, there are certain fixed association which your brain has started to make over the time and course of your trading. Now, nobody told you how you should feel. Are you getting my point? Nobody told you how you should feel, but you felt something which is called the extreme. You felt something in an extreme way. Now, if you take up something like drugs, if you take up something like even tea and coffee to some extent, alcohol, whatever is a stimulant, it tends to make you feel extreme. And if you feel extremely happy, there is a brain chemical called dopamine that is connected to the happiness, that is connected to the feeling that I have been rewarded. Now, all throughout the life, everybody has conditioned you. Your social structure has conditioned you. How has it conditioned you? It has said you will get monthly so much money. You will earn monthly salary. You will have monthly expenses. You will have daily, maybe daily salary or daily expenses. Now, one fine day you come to the market. Suppose there is a guy who is 20 years old, young guy, or 25 years old, young guy, and he goes and makes 40,000 rupees in the market, something he is not used to, something he is not heard, something he is not made to feel deserving of ever in his life. Suppose that guy is making that kind of money, nobody has told him that he deserves that kind of money. He is bound to feel too excited about it. He cannot see the fact that today the market is giving me so much money. Tomorrow, you may not get such a big move in the market. Now, when that dopamine rise happens, it is a rise which happens. The dopamine spikes up. There is a disbalance. See, even too much of happiness, too much of excitement can be a disbalance, right? That is what happens in markets. Too much of excitement. Because nobody in his life told him that you can make 40,000 rupees in 1 hour. He got a rush from that experience of making that money. And all throughout now, his point is not to save his capital. His point is not to maintain his stop loss. His point is not to find a strategy. Now his point is to find that rush. Now he's going to find that rush again. And in order to do so, he will damage his, because it's not being done in an organized manner, because it's not being done in a studied manner. His first trade was taken on a very different basis. Now his thinking basis is changed. Now that kind of rush is not going to sustain. It will damage certain neural pathways and certain belief systems. Now, whatever you experience and what you associate with, after a point in time, they start concretizing as beliefs. Whatever you experience and what emotion you associate it with, it overall starts concretizing with your belief. For example, it has been quite difficult for me even to explain to, say, my, some of my extended relatives, etc., that it is possible to make money in trading, that this can be a career. Initially, it was very difficult for me to tell my immediate family also. So it is not something, because most of the world around you is concretized with one belief, that this does not make money or this will always lose money. How many of you, and students who have joined my course have a lot of interaction with me, even the oldest of students, I have had them telling me, somebody is saying that my wife doesn't approve of trading, somebody says my parents don't approve of trading. How many of you have these kind of belief systems which are ruling your environment or ruling you to some extent? Can I have a raise of hand? And I want everybody to be very honest with their interaction, because that is how we're going to take it forward. That is how we're going to learn. First, the thing is you have to be honest with yourself, right? I see a lot of hands up. Thank you for the interaction. That's very good. So you do believe that there are certain concretized. So basically there's an experience and there's emotion. Experience, emotion, experience, emotion. After a point, it's so concretized that once that belief has set in, now that belief does what? It does not let you think beyond it. The action pattern also gets concretized. And if the action pattern is concretized, if you go to the market tomorrow, you may have had a lot of knowledge about technical analysis. You may have a lot of knowledge about anything in the world. You may be a genius, but if your emotional patterns are and behavioral patterns is such that you don't believe you can make money in the market, you're bound to lose money. Your belief will want to express itself. That is what Mr. Mark Douglas, Sir Mark Douglas, he said in a very nice way. He said the beliefs want to express themselves. They will express themselves. Now, when you have got a concretized set of belief, you have experience and association, and there's such a strong magnetic connection between your beliefs and your actions. How do you think you're going to break out from this? We all have to break away from this, right? We all have to break away from this. And this is one thing I want to talk in a very simple and clear manner. Because most of the people I know, I really feel from the core of my heart, I get inspired to see when people are coming to me, when I tell them all these are notes that you need to make, all this is the kind of practice you need to do, all these are the assignments you need to mail me. When students are doing that, I get inspired. I get inspired to see that there are people who are doing, I have the passion and that connects with me. Because I have the same passion. And I really feel at the same time that all said and done, with all that passion, you need to give it the correct emotional direction. If there is no correct emotional direction, there's going to be a problem. Now, self-destructive action patterns, self-destructing beliefs. I don't think I can do it. You see the picture perfect trade in front of you. You take the trade, and then suddenly, after some moments in the trade, you feel like maybe this is not going to work out. Let me just book this small amount of profit and get out. How many of you have done this before? Can I have a quick raise of hands? How many of you have done this before? You get the perfect picture perfect trade, you take the setup, you take the entry from that trade, and in a few moments you feel like let me just book small profits. Why? Because what if this doesn't work out? Now the reason why this kind of a belief has been concretized, that you are repeating these self-destructive patterns, you're thinking in self-destructive ways. Well, those angles, we're not getting too much into details, but we are soon going to get into the details. But what are the destructive patterns? So experience, association, again and again and again and again, turn into concretized beliefs. Beliefs want to express themselves, they turn into self-destructive patterns. How can we crack this code? So I used to do this. I sat with a pen and paper in my initial days of trading, and I started to think, if I can objectively analyze and introspect my brain, if I can come to certain conclusions, I must go one step deep. I must decode. And what I decoded, I'll tell you, listen to this very carefully. I need to find out what holds this pattern. There's something that holds this pattern. We need to find that out. If we find out what holds this pattern and we attack that, the pattern can break itself, right? And this is the method I use for myself, multiple understandings of this, and then I have used these methods for all my students. So in a way where they may directly know about it or indirectly know about it, but there have been a structured way in which, along with the technical understanding which I teach in my technical analysis course, the psychological understanding also enhances. There's a maturity, right? So we're going to have interesting discussion going deeper into it. So till now, if everybody is connecting with me of whatever I have said till now, please message yes in the question box. You can just message yes. So I know you're connecting. Right. Right. I want the maximum people to participate. So I get to know. Right. This is something I really feel very clear about. If you come to any of my sessions, if you like those people who are over here are who have already done the course or in the current batch, they know. And when I'm talking about trading and trading psychology, you have to keep one thing very clear in mind. This comes from a Stoic philosophy that there are certain things which are going to be in your hand, and there are certain things which are not going to be in your hand. And you have to separate the two. Easier said than done. Okay. Okay, Mr. Suyog, I will repeat this. I'll repeat this again. So till now, whatever we understood association, experience, interaction, again and again turns into concretized beliefs. Concretized beliefs want to express themselves and they create actionary patterns which are destructive. To break these patterns, we are going to see what holds us. Now, what is the easy way to see what holds us? Just think, what is the easy way to see what holds us? Now, 99% or 98% of the traders in the world, they are holding on to their psychological pattern, their tight grip. And there are 2%, 3%, 5% of traders who are professionals. If I can get the two in front of me and compare them, remember, what is my goal? My goal is to see what holds the pattern. If I can compare the personalities, the working lifestyle, the work ethic, the risk taking, the position sizing, the trading nature and the psychological nature of their habits on both the planes, how the trading day they have placed and how their psychology they have placed. If I compare the professional and the non-professional trader, my job is done. If I'm comparing the professional and the non-professional trader, my job is done because I can understand what are the patterns the non-professional trader, what is it that holding their patterns and what is different about the professional trader. I can easily come to the fact what is the thing that is holding the pattern. So let's understand the first and foremost thing, and each of these points I'm going to be keeping it elaborate. I'm going to talk about details. I'm talking about examples from real life and from knowledge of philosophy and spirituality, whatever I can. There's going to be a lot of details right now. So if you guys are writing notes, write notes. If you have questions to ask yourself, ask yourself. Write that one question down and ask yourself deep questions today evening after the webinar. Right? The first thing is the professional traders think in terms of series of trades. Okay. Right now we are just saying from outside what are their habits which are different. Automatically later we'll take the deeper layer and say, okay, this is what the difference is lying and this is what we can do to create this difference. Right? Right. Yes, Niteshji, we will learn how to break old beliefs and old patterns as you have asked, and we are going to break it down into a simpler process to see what are the old beliefs held on with. We are comparing the professional and the non-professional trader. There the secrets are. So secrets we are going to dig deeper. Let's see from outside, if I observe a professional trader and a non-professional trader, what is the difference? So if I sit in front of a professional trader and I see in the morning, this trader sits on the computer, he has some analysis and idea about the market. Particularly, he feels if the market opens higher, he should go long. The trader, the market opens higher, there's a gap up, the trader goes long, and he held on to the position, the market goes down. The market goes down till his stop loss point, he squares off. He squares off the trade. He's lost 12,000 rupees on that trade in the morning. He is not particularly dissatisfied, but he is almost expressionless. Now, this trader waits for the markets to give some more cues, keeps an eye on the stocks he's tracking. He took one trade in between, which made him 2000 rupees. It's a small profit, but it's good enough. He took the trade right. That was the point. So he's on a net profit net of minus 10,000 rupees. He has his lunch, very light lunch, gets back to the seat, observes the market. Second half of the market, at exactly almost 2 o'clock, he gets a trade. He takes an entry. That one trade makes him 20,000 rupees. He is profiting net profit of 10,000 rupees at the end of the day. I'm keeping the numbers very simple and easy to understand by everybody. This professional trader, he came in the morning, he took a trade, he lost money. He did not let himself get bogged by one loss. He did not let himself get bogged by one loss. Now, this is what the professional trader does. Not one trade profit or loss should have a significant psychology impact. One profit or one loss does not have a significant psychological impact. So, when a professional trader is trading, he is thinking in terms of series of trades. The retail trader is always thinking about this one trade. What is the profit or loss you got today? What is the profit loss of one trade? When a professional trader thinks, he thinks, how are my last 7 or 8 trades? How are my last 12 trades? How are my 20 trades? A set of trades. He takes a set of trades, a series of trades. Out of this series of trades, what is his advantage? Number one, he keeps his position sizing equal on each trade or almost equal. Number two, some of these trades may be losers, may be losing. It's okay. But he keeps his position sizing and his loss mark low so that he can take the next trade with clarity. Now, what I'm talking till now is very practical. That yes, you take in terms of series of trades. Even getting this is very difficult for retail traders. They're always stuck to. I had somebody call me a few weeks back. He said, I could not exit. My stop loss got hit, but I could not exit the trade. I said, could not exit means what? Were you in the flight? Could you not call your broker? Did you not have any internet connection? What do you mean could not exit the trade? He was trying to say my emotions were so, I'm feeling so much pain to book this loss that I didn't book this loss. Now this guy is not thinking about in series of trades. He's thinking about one trade. So when you are thinking about a series of trade, your job is not to execute one trade. Your job is to execute 10 trades, but with the rules in place. Okay. Let's get into point number 2. Then we are going to again go through this with a deeper aspect. What is the secret? Okay. The second is, they wait for perfect and near to perfect trading setups. Okay. Now, professional traders, you will be surprised. I have no idea in the world why most people in the world think that if the market is on, every minute of the market, anybody has to be busy. If you are too busy, believe me, you don't have any priorities. Busyness is just another word for laziness. If you are too busy, you don't have any priorities. If you are busy playing tabla on the keyboard, over trading, that is wrong. 90% of your trading, 80 to 90% of your trading is waiting. 80 to 90% of your trading is waiting. Now the professional traders wait. You will notice many times I'm not sharing ideas on Telegram for continuous 1 or 2 days also. Why should I be dishonest with myself? Why should I be desperate to get into a trade or talk about a trade? when I'm not really clear about the setups. It's as simple as that. Now, what happens is the retail traders are in much of a hurry. They're in a hurry. The hurriedness to make back their losses, the hurriedness to make sure what happens if market goes up 400 points today or 400 points down tomorrow. I should be there on the markets. I should be active all the time. I should take the potential trades. It's okay. First, develop the clarity. Yes, you should take the potentially good trades. You should take the high probability trades. But first, learn to develop the clarity. Now, how many traders are developing the clarity? How many traders are giving their time and attention to the analysis which goes in to develop a clarity? How many traders even want to become independent? So, first thing is that you need to learn to be independent and wait for the perfect trades or the near to perfect trades. Now, again, this I'm saying very practical, but understand one key point over here. To wait is not easy. Most people are thinking about the results. They are output focused. That is why they cannot wait. Most people are thinking about results. They're output focused. They cannot wait. The professional trader is focusing on the input. The professional trader is focusing on the inputs, not on the outputs. So if you focus on the input, you feel a different quality of waiting. Your waiting also needs to be, there needs to be a quality of waiting, right? If you focus on the inputs, you will develop the quality of your waiting at a more patient and higher level. Okay. I'll take up two questions which are in front of me. Mr. Ishwar is asking, what to see, what to see to take entry in trade when breakout happens. Sometimes I have found that volume support breakout got trapped. Okay, Ishwarji, with due respect, for today, this is a little technical question. Let's ask psychology-based question. That would be good. Now, since Ishwarji has joined one of my batches, which is just started, just had 2 sessions. So we are getting into those advanced level topics anyway. You will be clarified in the course. And in the course, I will take up all these questions and you can call me, as I have just shared my number and everything with the course students after 4 p.m. anytime. So right now, I'm not taking that question. Ganpati is asking, what do I mean by a perfect trade? Now, perfect trade, I don't mean that it has to be 100% any kind of compulsion that has to work out. But perfect means if I have certain categories, right? Like I always say that there's no, in technical trading, in technical analysis, and all those students who are here from any past batch and they understand this. There are 5 to 6 concepts, maybe that you have mastered. 5 to 6 concepts you are a master in. Out of which, maybe at a point in chart, you see 3 concepts. 3, just 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. I'm just saying a very simple example. I tend to see 7 or 8 things. Given the multiple time frame, etc., I see 7 to 8 things on a chart. If all of them are trying to push me into one direction, then I might think, okay, this is what is happening. Or maybe out of 7 or 8 things, 3 or 4 concepts are trying to tell me that this stock could be potentially very good buy, then I will keep it on my radar. If 6 or 7 are trying to tell me this is already a buy, then I'm going to go long on that stock. I'm going to find out what my risk rewards are and what my trade design is. But I'm going to take a confluence. I'm a professional trader. I take a confluence of multiple things. Most retail traders get chalked out. They will learn one day, they will learn candlestick. Tomorrow they will start looking for candles in the market. That is not how it works. That is not how it works. So Mr. Ganpati, when you are going to learn all the concepts, you will see examples where you will see the overlap of different concepts happening. And when different concepts happening, the perfect entry does not always mean that you enter the stock and it will run. Many times it will happen, many times it will not happen. but you need to give the market the space to breathe. When I mean to say a perfect setup, I mean to say, when I see a perfect setup, I mean to say something which is high probability. I hope I'm clear with both of you. I've answered both of you. Something which is high probability, but doesn't mean it has to run every time. And this is what, again, you don't have to create that rush. You don't have to create that expectation. If the stock works out or automatically, your timing is perfect, good. Even if it is not absolutely perfect, fine. Give the market some space to breathe. Let the trade unfold. Okay. So when you let the trade unfold, when you are not worried about the loss of one trade, you easily let the trade unfold. When you are waiting with a high quality of waiting, you are looking for the more clearer, high probability setup, more overlaps. That is where your game is. We're going to come back to this again, as I said. What are the steps you need to take in order to wait for the near to perfect? What are the things you need to learn? Right now, we are just seeing what the difference between a professional and non-professional is. The next thing is the professional traders love to challenge the status quo. Now, what do I mean by the status quo, and what do I mean challenging the status quo? You see, I have noticed and observed, and there's nothing too filmy or heroic about it, but the professional traders do not hold on to a lot of beliefs which the general society and the general social structure does. As I had given an example earlier, that in society in general, you will be called, okay, this is your monthly salary, आपके महीने का कमाई, महीने का खर्चा. You always correlate time and money. The professional traders know that you cannot dictate how fast, which day, how much money the market will make you. You cannot dictate that. And therefore, if the money amount is coming in different shapes and sizes, it is fine. Over a series of trades, if they come out in net profit, it is fine. If according to their scale they are performing correctly, they are executing, it's fine. Some days will be big bonus days, some days will be just flat markets. So that is the status quo they are challenging. Most people think in time and money correlation. Okay, and it happened with me when I started. When I started, I made say 3,000 rupees on a trade, and I was like, wow, this is so exciting. If I make 3,000 rupees on one day, if there are 20 trading sessions in a month, I will end up making 60,000 rupees. I was so stupid to think like that. That is not how it works. So if you have to challenge the status quo, you have to break away from the shackles around you that are holding you. The holding the patterns are happening through so many things which are around you, which are fed in your mind, coming from outside. Right? Another status quo which the traders challenge, and which is very important. In markets, you are, if you notice any chart, okay, again, I want to make it more into psychology, not getting too much technicals, but most of the moves are with the trend. Any technical trader who has some sanity will tell you that you should trade with the larger trend. Okay. Now, to each one his own. There will be people who like to go against the trend, etc. What they do, not my problem. But generally, with technical analysis, I would say you trade with the broader trend. Now, if you were trade with the broader trend, what happens? If the price of something is going higher, the rest of the world thinks the demand should go low. Why? Because ये तो महंगा हो गया. The price should come down. If this is so expensive, price should come down. People think in these terms. Because if you go and buy any commodity or look at the price of vegetables, etc. Yes, if the price increases, the demand decreases. But in markets, it's the opposite. In markets, if the price increases, the demand increases also. Now they have the power of clarity to challenge the status quo. And when people are saying that, we are going against the trend because it has gone up so much, I think we should go short on it. The professional traders look for the point of going long on those stocks which are very strongly trending. The easier trade is to go short on something that has gone up, because that's what the logic tells them. That's what the status quo is. But the professional trader will challenge the status quo, right? Okay, I'm getting one question from Mr. Ganpati. How do we know perfect entry decide with the volumes? Mr. Ganpati ji, with due respects, today we are not discussing technical things. So why don't you call me offline? I will explain you regarding your questions. Okay. And please, if you can focus right now, there's a lot to learn from what I'm saying right now also. Okay. So we will talk about the rest of the things. So fine, these points everybody got. Think in terms of series of trades. Wait for the perfect or near perfect trading setups. Challenge the status quo, because there are a lot of things in small ways which have kept us in grind. And most traders, they have the independence of thought process, which is most I like about traders. If you talk to them about any topic, maybe anything random, anything about daily life, they will have an independent view on it. Okay, we are going to get into the deeper layer, as I said. Next thing, they are success conscious. Now imagine, what would it be like if everyone over here, instead of having any kind of negative belief, has only and only positive belief that yes, I can be successful in the stock market. I can be consistent in trading. If the entire negativity is replaced by positivity, just imagine what difference will it be. Just imagine what is the kind of expression that will come out. As I said, beliefs will want to express. And that is what Mark Douglas also said in his book, Trading in the Zone. Beliefs want to express themselves. So if instead of failure consciousness, there is success consciousness, just imagine what the belief will be, what the actions will be. So we're going to get into deeper of how to get into the success consciousness. And how it is, and that part is going to be very interesting, because it has got implications of a lot of things. How you think about money, what your relationship with money is. The last point, the brain is their favorite organ. So obviously the best of the traders do keep themselves very well. They have a discipline, they have a clarity of thought, and to keep that protected, they will not overindulge into various things. Sleep on time, wake up on time, prepare. Like for example, if I had to give this webinar to you guys, I had to prepare for it. A lot of things were a part of what I already know, but to be organized and prepared is important. Otherwise, how will we have a good time interacting? Similarly, the traders know that the one organ in their body, which is their brain, will help them prepare. Now, preparation doesn't mean that you are wearing a suit and a tie to office. That is not preparation. When it comes to trading, there is a room for flexibility also. It is not necessary that all the preparation will be very much fixed. That I have to take this trade in the morning. No. An overall preparation means to keep your mind and brain alert. Alert to the possibilities. Find out if there is some clarity in the market. If yes, good. If there is no clarity in the market, then wait for the time when clarity is coming. Don't rush. So they take care of themselves. They take care of how their health is. Because if I overindulge in eating or drinking, obviously it will have a repercussion on how my physiology is, how I carry myself, how my brain is working. If there is a clarity and balance, if my neural pathways are damaged, where I'm not understanding the reward system, and my neural pathways are damaged, it is not healthy for my trading. Now, how do I protect that part? How do I repair that part? What are things that are healthy for me to consume, to see, to watch, to hear, to talk about? I'm going to do those things. Now, we are going to get into the depth of all this. How can one actually embrace each of these attitudes? But for this, I have something different for you. I have a counterintuitive approach, and which is what I have always believed works. Everything that you think outside, you take up a book, you get inspired, you listen to some good speeches, fine. You can do that. You can, but you have to understand trading is different. A lot of the success principles which are applicable to maybe your education, you having a good job, you having started multiple businesses before you got into trading, all the things which you achieved in life before you started to trade, the same principles are not going to work exactly in the same manner in trading. How many of you agree with me? Kindly raise your hands. What I'm saying, can you raise your hand? How many of you agree with me that the same principles are not directly applicable to trading? Now, what is applicable to trading is, I personally feel, a counterintuitive approach. Because when we are talking about trading, we are talking about a fast-paced environment. The success principles, which have been 20 years old, 50 years old, hundreds of years old, a lot of them are timeless. A lot of philosophy, a lot of spirituality, a lot of gyan is really timeless. But when it comes to success principle of modern day, the modern day is changing. A few hundred years back, you had the Industrial Revolution. I read this somewhere. I forgot which book I read it in. It's a very nice book. But yeah, let's just. I'm talking about this. I'm not able to, not clicking where I read this. But Industrial Revolution was there about a few hundred years back, right? Industrial Revolution. You needed capital. If you were a capitalist, you needed capital. In order to make money, you needed capital, right? So if you were having capital with you, it was easy for you to actually have a good life. Before that, there were kings and queens, and there were kingdoms. There were, there was a ruling which was not such as it is today, right? Yeah. So you needed to be the prince of some place, or you needed to attack a kingdom in order to actually, become a king, become the top of the world. During Industrial Revolution, you needed to actually have money and capital. But as times are changing, needs are changing, wants are changing, patterns of thinking and consumption are changing. Today, the only capital you need is knowledge. You have a Steve Jobs who comes in a t-shirt and a jeans and creates a Fortune 500 company only on the basis of one resource, which is knowledge, which is the base. Obviously, you need capital for growing a company like that. But yes, the starting point, you don't need money, you need knowledge. In trading, yes, you need certain degree of capital, but what is more important, you need knowledge. So we have to understand it's not just about that what you need. Then there are other things. What used to be the environment of a normal household, a normal working life 50 years back and today, there is a difference between the surrounding. There's a difference between the way of life. The orientation has changed. Let's talk about trading. In 20 years back, trading, you did not have proper internet connection in India. Forget the charting platforms. Forget discount brokers. No technology, no smartphones. And today, you have so much technology. In the 20 years back, 95% of the people in the market used to lose money. 20 years now, like after that, like today, again 95% of the people in the markets lose money. So what are the technology changes? How are they helping us? Now, what are the surrounding changes? We have something called information abuse in today's world. We are bombed with notifications, information. It has an impact on our brain. It has an impact on our brain. So when you have your surroundings, your habits, your work ethic, your life, the attention span of people which used to be there earlier, now it is not so much, because every few seconds you have hearing a beep. Somebody is telling you the score of IPL, somebody is asking you to call back. So there are lifestyle changes. So a counterintuitive approach is what works better, right? Now, obviously, what I'm going to tell you now is going to lead you to overcome panic situations, overcome the negative habit patterns, but there are going to be a counterintuitive approach towards it. Now, let's first take the counterintuitive approaches, right? And then these are the small things which you will do. If you practice this, it will create a massive difference. Massive difference, right? These are small things. If you practice this, it will create a massive difference. Okay. Now, oops, 1 second, guys. So let's understand the counterintuitive approach. Yeah, I'm getting some questions. I will answer that right after this. Okay. Now, so 1 second, guys. 1 second. Yes. First, let's understand how to not think in terms of extremes. Today's world, we are subjected to think in extremes. I mean, if you take up any YouTube channel, take up any subject, take up a YouTube channel, go to Facebook, take up a newspaper article. What are the things that you are listening to all the time? What is the biggest lie, the biggest secret, the most scariest threats? We are the biggest, the most highest achieving this person, that person. We are always thinking in that few percentage of life which is extremely skewed. The worst habits to have, the richest people, the most poor people, the most rich people, all these are the information, maximum source of the information actually is, maximum of the information is actually related to the extremes. And therefore, most of the people in today's world always want to think in terms of extremes. Till the time their children in class 12, they want them to come first in class. Always extremes. Once they get out of the class 12 or get into college or get out of college also, the world is so big. It's difficult to difficult to handle those expectations. The child fails in one exam and they are boggled because we are expecting too much from ourselves. And although expecting too much from yourself can be helpful in other categories of success, other professions and business, first start understanding that I am an average person. I am having average expectations from myself. I am having only as much expectation that my skill allows me. That is how professional creators are. They are humble, they are simple. They think in terms of what is possible, actually possible, what is real. They don't have over expectations. First, you need to curtail down your expectations. And these are the complete essence and root causes which are creating the problems, and if you make the changes that I'm saying, it can give you some benefit. So if I connect this, that you don't have much expectation, if you have average expectation, isn't it easier for you to think in terms of series of trades? If you have average expectation, isn't it easier for you to think in terms of series of trades? Right? Think about it. Not average profit, no, not a big profit, not a big loss. Average expectation, average position sizing. Do not want to become Michael Jordan in one day. Want to take it step by step. Right? Number two, understand your strengths and your weaknesses. Now, this is very important. Now, most of the things which are uh, outside of trading, if you understand your weakness, it is a massive growth factor. There's a massive growth factor. Yes, in trading also you need to understand your weakness. But I personally like to give it an extra brownie point to go and understand my strength. If I can understand my strength, a lot of my job is done. Why? Because if you have the strength in something, it has a multiplication effect. If you exercise your strength on something, it has a multiplier effect, especially with trading. So if you focus on your strengths, then what happens? You start focusing on the inputs that took you to the best of the trades. And what is the retail trader doing? The retail typical trader is doing what? If he has a good day, he starts expecting more the next day. So the market volatility, if that simmers down, he doesn't like it. He ends up over trading. So when it's going to be focusing on the inputs, focusing on the strengths and replaying their strength, would not it be easier to have a better quality of waiting? And how are you going to do this in the technical aspect? I'm going to tell you in some time. In the chart aspect, in the analysis aspect. First, understand that it is important for you to assess your strengths, assess your good times. Most people assess their bad times because they feel it. They have made a loss. They feel that there's a mistake. They feel pain, and they think that if there's some learning over here, I should take it, which is good. You should take it. But most of the time, when people make money, they ignore and give that place a blind spot. They don't reassess what they did in the market day. And if you go and study that, that has actually an entire treasure over there to teach you. Right? There's freedom in daily discipline. In the morning, do one or two things which you do every morning. Start with the morning. Start with one or two things that keep you rooted to discipline. Learn to reject. Learn to reject. Learn to reject those setups which are not high quality. Put your money in only those places where you feel it is worth putting the money. Learn to reject the low quality setups. Learn to say no. Now the problem again is, here you need to have a counterintuitive approach, because most of the times you have had success in other things. Learn to say yes. Saying yes makes things gates open, makes things work for you. So when you learn to say yes, things happen. But in trading, you need to learn to say no. You need to learn to say no. And those over here who are understanding the subtleties behind these points must understand that these are small things, but they are very important things. Very, very important things. Learn to say no. Learn to say no to low probability patterns. Learn to say no to the times when you're not clear about the patterns. Are you all with me till now? Show me a raise of hands. After this, I'll go to the next point. Thank you. Thank you. Are you all with me? Now, if there are any questions, you can ask. And I will take up every question. One of them is still hanging. I'll take that question also. Right. Learn to reject. Lastly, develop wealth consciousness. Again, develop wealth. Okay. Now, a little bit about what exactly do I mean by wealth consciousness. Now, when we are trading, okay, as I said, the commodity which is survival commodity, that is money, that is something which creates the greed and fear because everything is connected to that. If we go into things like the learnings from Stoicism, learnings from Bhagavad Gita, we always listen to one thing, that you do your work without thinking about the returns. Without thinking about the returns, you do your work honestly. Now it is difficult to do that without thinking of the returns. It is not easy, it is difficult. But what can be done? What can be done is to let go from a conscious perspective. How many of you have experienced this? That most of the time wealth comes into your life when you stop counting it. Can I have a raise of hands? Wealth really comes into your life when you stop counting. Why? Because you are unconsciously conscious about wealth. You unconsciously have a high level of understanding, higher vibration of wealth. Thank you for raising your hand. Thank you, everybody. So can we do that when we are starting our trading journey? Can we have a high vibration for wealth by understanding that it is just a byproduct? By understanding that our goals can be translated into visions, but step by step thing which you need to do now is where the wealth actually starts. That is the inner wealth. And when that is connected, that has an alignment in your physiology, the actual wealth, the real currency wealth starts coming in. And this is one of the things which I really make sure by the end of the course, my students come to the 15-session course. It is a 2-month long course. By the end of the course on trading, there are tips and bits about trading psychology which are given. They are very wealth conscious. They are success conscious. They have the winning attitude. On a very basic note, it is you will reap the benefits of not thinking about the money and doing your work honestly. You will reap the benefits of it. You have to start somewhere because that is again what professional traders do. I remember one of the professional traders in my early stages. I had a little bit of confusion, too much confusion in fact. So I asked him, I'm thinking I'm losing my plot. Can you please help me? Can you tell me what do you think in the morning when you're sitting and trading? What do you think? So that very professional, senior, seasoned trader, very seasoned trader, he said, when I'm going to my office, when I'm getting ready for work, when I'm going towards start my trading day, before that, the only thing I say to myself, I do a little bit of meditation. So meditation is something I would recommend you all. And then I really, really cherish and I really, really feel thankful for the wealth I already have, and I already feel wealthy before I reach office. There is nothing on the screen that can make me feel more or less wealthy. My only objective is to do my inputs right. And that was the most beautiful thing ever. He said, my only job is to get the inputs right. I'm feeling wealthy, that is enough. So this is the feeling, the emotion that later leads you to attract the material. But what are the inputs which you need to focus on? That is your key. Now let's understand what are the daily habits about trading that you need to correct if you find yourself in the incorrect place right now. Right? If you find yourself that okay, I'm not really in the perfect, I'm not understanding even the webinars and what people are doing professionally, it's far away from my understanding. First understand you need to adopt a style of trading. Now what do I mean by a style of trading? Style means something which matches with your DNA, matches with your personality, right? It's a style which matches with your personality. What is the style of trading? Say for example, three different students of mine, they have learned technical analysis from me, a holistic approach from me. But three of them can have slightly different styles or significantly different styles. And one cannot replicate the other so easily. Maybe in terms of somebody's trading intraday, the time frame is different, right? Maybe in terms of the strategies are different. That guy is amazingly good at XYZ kind of strategies. And he knows how to pick that up, he knows how to execute, he's clear about it. And ABC person is good at so and so strategy. Okay, like the other guy is good at the ABC kind of strategies. So there can be a vivid style of trading, even by, say for example, my students who have been trained by me in that subject. So your point is that have you adopted a style which suits your personality, because it is very important. In things outside of trading, you need to get out of your comfort zone. That is where the success is. And yes, here also you have to get out of your comfort zone, but it is not about the comfort zone of it. You need to move, you need to gain knowledge, you need to transfer your personality towards a new beginning. But the most important point right now I'm trying to say is that within the realm of trading style, you need to stick to a comfort zone that matches with your personality. If you're not comfortable with that kind of trading, XYZ style of trading, if you're trying to replicate somebody else, there are high chances that you will have execution errors. There are chances you will have execution errors. First, adopt a style. And in case you want to learn, then obviously you can contact my team to learn technical analysis. No big deal. You can send me your number over here. My team will contact you. I already had one person sending the number a few minutes back. If you want to learn full-fledged. Next is understand your strengths and weaknesses. As I said earlier, understanding both of them will have a very significant impact on the way your trading will develop. And you need to talk to yourself for that. The most powerful trader is the one who does not need anyone else's validation. And that can only be built with a lot of self-talk. The third point, have a regime for a regular trading day. Now here again a counterintuitive approach I will say. Most people think about the trading day. Why can't you just shift your mindset and start thinking about a trading phase or a trading week or something that is more amicable to your trading style? Like for example, there are some of my students who just don't even talk in terms of trading day. If they ever call me up and say, "So we did this in the February series. These are the best trades of February series." Because their time horizons of trading, they like to pick up those positional trades we can hold for 5 or 6 days or 2 or 3 weeks sometimes. It's fine. As long as they have the clarity, as long as they stick to that style. Most people are jumping around in the style, and that is why they're not consistent. But these people stick to their style. And then I have some students who call me and say, "Sir, that day, this was the big move in the market. this day was an amazing day because they are more of intraday traders. So if you have a regime for a regular trading day, that in terms of preparation is very good. But when I say regime, don't think about the results that I have to fight. I have to make so much money in one day. I have to make 5,000 rupees every day. Well, that is not how it works. Even if you make 5,000 rupees every day, put it in a right context of a style. Without a style, there's no point having that kind of a context. Are you all with me on this one? Are you all with me on this one? I want to raise your hands. I want to see if everybody is not asleep. I mean, I'm sure everybody is not asleep. All of you are here together with me. And I'm more than sure all of you have a lot of takeaways from this. Thank you so much for the one or two appreciating messages I've got till now. Right? Have a regime. That is preparation. That is discipline. But do not need to have a regime for your trading profits on daily basis or hourly basis. Anything at all. Like for example, one of my regime was for a very long time. I used to be very active only after 10:30 in the morning out in the markets. So 9:15 to 10:30, a lot of price data for intraday used to come, which I used to really like. My focus was narrowed down into less hours of trading, and I was very consistent in that phase of trading, where I focused from 10:30 to roughly 3 o'clock, 3:30. One can do that. One can do that. So I'm going to take up one question which has come. Puneet is asking, since one second, I'll just check if there's any other question. If I missed any question, you can just send me the message again, right? Okay, Puneet is asking, since all the markets are interrelated, my physiology always come against my trade position. If I'm long in position, I always thought that the market will fall next morning and vice versa. How to overcome this as a result of wrong trade habits? Okay, now how to overcome this? As I'm going to tell to Puneet and as it is told to all the students who first enter my course, if possible, if you feel that you don't have the right mindset, best thing is to take a break. Take a break, and it will relax your negative actionary patterns. And during that break time, you start looking at markets in a different way. Any change in the beginning will be slow. It will be something which you will have to come out from. You have to bloom out from. But ultimately, that change will take place if you have given the effort. Now, here the effort is to not give the effort. It's a little counterintuitive. Here, the effort is to not try. It is difficult to not try because you've got thousands and lakhs and crores of rupees flying around in front of you on the screen. It's difficult to not try to make money. For a few days, if you don't try anything and start changing your perspective with the market, then adopt one thing in that perspective. And since Puneet has asked me this question, this answer is specifically for him. If somebody resonates with it, you can take that as a regime too. But if you have your personal questions, you can ask. So Puneet, what I would say, as if you are one person who is a patient and I'm the doctor, what I can say is that in this time where you take a small break, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 2 months, it could be whatever time you feel like, what feels right to you. In a nutshell, start expecting both the things. Start expecting anything to happen. The professional, successfully, long-term successful traders who have been there 50 years in the market, one of those interviews I was seeing one day, and this guy says, it's been decades in the market consistently. He says, I expect the market to move. I don't expect anything from the trade. I expect the market to move. Either it will make me a profit or it will make me a loss. And the most of your fear is coming from the possibility of losing money. Now that possibility of losing money, if you're so sensitized to losing money, start developing after the break, start developing a new mindset from a small position size where you are not so sensitized to the fact that if you lose money, if suppose losing 1 lakh rupees to you is something which is painful compared to losing 10,000 rupees, Then take 10,000 rupees like quantity where your loss cannot exceed that, or your stop loss is not beyond that. So position sizing is a very good way. First a break and then position sizing is a very good way to install new habits. Are you all understanding my point? Are you all with me till now? Right? Lastly, learn to trade in an organized manner. Learn how to trade in an organized manner. If you all are learning how to trade properly, believe me, it is going to be a very clear experience. And I'm not saying you need to come to me to learn. Learn from wherever you want to. In case you want to join my 15 session course, go ahead, join. No problem. Thanks, Puneet. Join. You just send in your number over here, get in touch with my team. It's always there on Telegram where you can get in touch with my team. Some of the other ID will be shared with you. You can send your number over here. My team will contact you. Whatever you want to do. But first learn to trade in an organized manner. One of the person is asking me, is the course about psychology? No, the course is about trading. The course about technical analysis and trading. And trading psychology is a small part of what I teach. And I also teach like options. I teach Elliott wave theory. The basics are something we start with so that people who are very new to technical analysis or completely new, nobody has a problem. You go step by step. But the point is, organize yourself, learn, buck up, try and find out thinking ways to break your patterns. As I now coming back to where we started. We started from a premise that we need to see what holds these patterns. And if we know what is the difference between the professional traders and the non-professional traders, we can understand what are those patterns that the professional traders are free of. And the answer to all this is, to great extent, it is an individual answer for person specific. To a great extent, it's a general answer. But the answer is to take a counterintuitive approach, to try something for the next 2 days, something new. Try not to trade for the next 2 days. What's the worst case scenario? Nothing. Maybe you'll lose a trading opportunity where you could have made money, that's all. But would you be anyway consistent? No. That is why you're taking a break. Try doing something different. Try waking up and doing just one thing absolutely at this time. You wake up and at 8 o'clock to 8:15, you meditate. Just that 1 15-minute thing. See how it makes you feel rooted. See how the discipline is something you carry throughout the day in other things that you do. Take a counterintuitive approach. Figure out ways and counterintuitive approach that will help you for your specific reasons. Learn to say no to trades. Start thinking in a way that, okay, I need to take a trade, one trade in the entire week. I need a trade so good that if I say I'm going to take one trade in the entire week, this is going to be that trade. Take a trade like that. Feel the difference. Feel the difference of what it is to tell yourself a different story. You're not telling yourself a story that I need to make so much money today. No. You have to tell your story. Did I think in terms of series of trades? Did I think in terms of following my rule in every trade? Did I think in terms of trade selection? Because the professional traders are not the traders who are born with these mental skills. They are the ones who use their focus, energy, time, introspection, dedication to build these mental skills. They didn't have parents who were like, okay, don't correlate time with money. They didn't have people around them having different idea of microeconomics and different demand and supply. They understood the world around them, saw it practically, saw it in a manner nobody else does. That's what made the difference. And I wish you all that difference to be adopted. And there are more things about trading psychology. There are more things. Of course, there are more things. And if you wish to learn from me, trading psychology as a part of my entire 15 session course, which is on technical analysis and trading, do get in touch with me. The rest, I wish you all the best. I hope you have taken a lot from this webinar. I hope we can meet again and talk about these things. I think, and after so many years of teaching, I know when the crowd is asking less questions, they are stuck with the thought process. They are chewing on the things which have been taught. And I'm getting such messages from you all. So you keep chewing on this. Find out, don't be aggressive with the trading. Be aggressive about change, because the change does not happen overnight. Right? This is what you all must understand. Thank you, Mr. Yagnesh. He says, thank you so much for the aspects of trading psychology. This knowledge will surely be most helpful. Thank you, Mr. Yagnesh. Thank you, Mr. Nitin Kumar. You're feeling relaxed and stop trading? Very nice. Small things. I may be something like, I may say some simple things, but because there is initiative inside you to want to change, you will apply what I've said. You go to YouTube, go to webinars, you go to classes, you read books. The point is not reading 1,000 books. It's about reading one, applying very nicely. When students come to my course, yes, we do share some material also apart from the course, the interactive sessions and webinars and sessions like this. But I always tell the students this also: your focus and your application is very important. Applying one thing at a time very, very effectively can make a lot of difference. So guys, on that note, thank you so much. It has been an extremely good session. Ganpati ji, for your questions regarding which were a little more technical, do connect with me other than this, right? So thank you guys. It was really lovely today's session, and I'm looking forward for more interaction. Thank you for the new faces that have come. Somebody called Mr. Trade. Can you just, what is your name? And thanks a lot for this, for such a session. I'm gonna watch it again on YouTube. Thank you so much. Do watch it again on YouTube. Share it with your friends, share it with your fellow traders. And this whole purpose of using this 1st May as a public holiday to do something productive for all of you. So something productive for myself and something which is taking a step ahead to something generally which is good. Everything all the time trades, etc. There's a lot of hidden value in learning together and focusing there. Just focusing on the learning. How to sustain consistency. How to sustain consistency. Deepak is asking how to sustain consistency. I wish you'd asked this question earlier, but I'm going to say that when new patterns, when positive patterns of habit start getting installed, just imagine them being cemented with your wealth consciousness and your patience. That is going to sustain it on its own, because it is cemented with your wealth consciousness. The real thing, by now all of you understand, is your consciousness about success and wealth is always going to keep you on the path. At the same time, being humble and focusing on inputs. That is the way to consistency. Again, we are not taught this. In Indian education system, the students are studying for 20 days of exam, and then the entire year, the entire holidays, they're just wasting their time with no schedule. I mean, it's good to play, it's good to have your other activities, but the consistent effort is not something which is taught to us in school or in college. This is what trading demands. This is what success demands. And success in anything will happen with consistent inputs. A consistent sense of yourself. Do not have ego, but have a positive self-esteem. If you have a consistent self of yourself, a consistent belief of things, your expressions, your inputs will be consistent, and so will your results. Consistency is something which happens when you don't worry about it. It is a consistent set of inputs, right? So on that note, I hope I've answered you, Mr. Deepak. On that note, a very warm goodbye from my side. It was a great session. I completely loved it. Had a very nice time with all of you. Those who asked the questions, thank you. Those who didn't ask, thank you for observing and being with me throughout and absorbing like a sponge all these things which you're learning today. Do think over, do introspect, do mull over, do your journaling, exercise, meditation. These None of these things I have not spoken about because I wanted to make this a different video, a different kind of this thing. There are certain trading psychology videos available on YouTube, which you can see. There will be links below, or you can just go to my YouTube channel and go to the video section. There are a lot of videos on trading and technical analysis. Go through them. The gates are always open if you want to join the course. Thank you so much. It was a great session. And goodbye. Thank you, Yagnesh, Rohit, Deepak, Rahul, Mr. Trade Trade. Thank you so much. My YouTube channel, my name, Mohak Pachisia, is the name of the YouTube channel. I will send you all the link on Telegram once again. It is already there. If you check, you will find. And I will anyway send the link of this video of today's session on YouTube. Okay. So again, thank you very much. Long session, interesting session. Take care. Have fun. Goodbye. And keep in touch. Awaiting the next live session will be regarding the markets, a little more technical in nature, etc. Right? So until then, have a good time. Goodbye. This is my YouTube channel. You can just type my name and go to the YouTube channel. Right? You'll find a lot of videos. There'll be a lot of old videos also, which will include a lot about the markets. There are certain trading psychology videos also. If you go in the past, you will check. I've spoken about this topic also, right? So thank you guys. Have fun. Enjoy. Take care. Goodbye. Enjoy.